Welcome back to our continuing coverage of The Long Walk. I'm your host, Bobby Thompson. The time is 5:19 a.m. Bright and early in the morning, these young men on the road have lived to see another day. As you know, we began yesterday at 9 a.m. with 100 brave competitors. And now we are down to 73 remaining. And still a long way to go. Imagine for a moment that you are the last one standing. You have won the long walk, outlasting 99 other opponents. And now you can ask for whatever your heart desires. What would it be? Don't forget, the Major who grants your wish doesn't have magical powers, even though he might look like a demigod. But any wish within his immense power would be granted. So, what would you wish for? Would you give your mom a mansion? Or free your papa from prison? Maybe you would build a public swimming pool for your entire town. Or ask the Major to take a match to your old school and burn it down. Whatever your heart's desire, the Major can make it happen. All you have to do is keep walking until 99 tickets are punched, and the ultimate prize is all yours. The dawn is brightening into a lovely morning. Most of the boys are reinvigorated now that they have survived the night, and they know breakfast is only a few hours away. Not everyone is in great shape, though. Olsen looks the most zombie-like among the bunch, and yet he still manages to keep going. Also, number 98 stubbed his toe on a manhole cover, and now it looks like he has sprained his ankle, which is bad news, because now he's walking, or should I say limping, with a third warning. Number 48, Gribble, is grumbling to anyone who will listen, complaining about the unfairness of the long walk, as if he didn't volunteer for this adventure. Oh, and we have word that the Major himself might make his first appearance of this new day. We'll see if Gribble has enough bravado to speak his mind to the big man himself. I highly doubt it. We're passing by a boarded-up Dairy Queen, but, as the sign says, it will be reopening soon for the summer. That'll be nice. The soldiers on the half-track are now pointing their guns at Yannick. That limp of his is only getting worse, and it is definitely slowing him down well below the 4-mile-an-hour pace. You can just about read the boy's thoughts as he muddles onward, wincing in agony. He's got to be thinking, please, body, just push through the pain. Pick up some speed or we're dead. To which his body responds, his body doesn't have a chance to respond. That is the end of Yannick's inner debate, and he is the 28th ticket punched. And as you can see on the faces of the other boys, not looks of horror, but looks of mild relief or satisfaction. For them, Yannick has become one less thing to worry about. And talk about bad timing, because if Yannick had held on a little longer, he would have lived to see this amazing sight. Ladies and gentlemen, the Major, in all his patriotic glory. His Jeep is upon the hill. Most of the boys are cheering. Some of the exhausted ones, like Olsen, barely notice as the Major salutes them one and all. Number 5, Barkovich, has the audacity to thumb his nose as the Jeep roars by, but you know who is keeping his mouth shut? Mr. Gribble. He doesn't have much to say anymore, does he? One of the walkers, it's 86, Sledge, he gets lost in the moment, actually stopping to clap and cheer as the Major passes by, earning him a second warning. You gotta keep walking, Sledge, even as you bask in the glory of our national treasure. Oh, and the Major has driven off into the distance. Let's hope he pays another visit soon. It's not nearly the majestic spectacle of the Major, but I notice on the road, number 38, Toby Foster, is doing some sort of herky-jerky dance as he walks. At first glance, it looks like a merry sort of jig, for the fun of it, but more likely, he is trying to shake out the pain in his aching feet. Human bodies just weren't meant to walk this far. And now the limbs are starting to rebel from their owner. The walkers are now passing a used car lot, and the auto salesmen are giving the boys a 21-horn salute.
Keep on walking, boys, and remember, no one outtrades McLaren Dodge.
Just one of the benefits of having a business along the long walk, you get free advertising. And we are moving into a small farming community now. And speaking of us moving, several of the walkers have decided they can no longer hold it. As you know, bathroom breaks are not part of this competition. And so there are different strategies the boys implement. For example, Mama Boy Percy, as fans lovingly call him, stops and squats, which ultimately earns him a warning. Others, like Tubbins, number 93, wear loose-fitting jeans. Right now, Tubbins is waddling along, jeans around his ankles, hunched over, and walking like a duck as he leaves behind a steaming trail of you-know-what. Number 72, Parker, and number 47, Garrity, seem to be having a heated argument about which state is better. Garrity, as you know, is the only walker who hails from Maine. He's the hometown favorite, which has gained a lot of ire from the other walkers. Parker hails from Illinois, in a part of the country where the land is flat and you can see for miles, and I guess Mr. Tough Guy is getting tired of all these hills and trees. And nearby, McVry's, number 61, seems to be taunting the downtrodden Olson, number 70, but it's hard to tell. He might actually be trying to encourage the lad to keep going. McVry's is erratic, to say the least, so it is hard to tell. It wasn't that long ago that his ticket was about to be punched, but thanks to number 47, he snapped back to his senses, at least temporarily. And we must leave you temporarily as we go to a commercial break.
Do you know any bad boys? Truly terrible, awful bad boys that need to be saved by the grace of our Lord Jesus. Maybe it's a prodigal son who needs a nudge before his return. Maybe it's a bad apple who dropped from your family tree and just needs a little help getting back to where he belongs. Or maybe it's just some hitchhiking juvenile delinquent coming from nowhere, going nowhere, lost all direction. Whatever trouble they've gotten themselves into, we can help them get out of it at the Sunlight Gardener Scripture Home for Wayward Boys, located in the state of Indiana, America's heartland. The Sunlight Home is a state-of-the-art facility smack dab in the middle of 60 acres, surrounded by brick walls and barbed wire fences and TV surveillance cameras, so that once the boy checks in, he does not check out until his soul has been saved. 6 days a week, our boys wake up at 5 a.m. for chapel, work the fields till 7. Then, after a hearty breakfast, it's back to the fields until lunchtime and Bible readings, followed by more field work until sundown. Then, at night, we have confession, and we always know exactly what these boys need to confess, because every dorm room is bugged. Yes, we are always listening at the Sunlight Home. And for our residents who just can't get along and need a little extra love, we have the box. Rest assured, in no time at all, these boys will be on their knees begging Jesus for forgiveness. So, if you can't send them away on the long walk, the Sunlight Gardener Scripture Home for Wayward Boys is the best way to set them on the path of righteousness. Best of all, there are hardly ever any werewolf attacks. Stop by and deliver your errant boy today, and you will receive a crisp $20 bill and the Lord's blessing. See y'all at the Sunlight Home.
It is now 5:45 a.m. On the corner of this particular intersection, a bevy of housewives cheer on the walkers. Collie Parker does his usual sweet talk routine, and that just encourages the women to flirt back even more. Ladies, do your husbands know what you're up to? Oh, what's this? I think Gribble number 48 is blushing at the housewives. Is that a bashful smile I see? There you go, Gribble. See, it's not all bad along the way. But for number 49, Stevie Harkness, there is nothing to smile about. He seems to have a cramp that has affected him so badly he has actually dropped his pad of paper, leaving it for the road, which I guess means he has given up his plans to write a book. Have you noticed that there's always at least one writer in this event? According to Harkness's application, he plans to publish his autobiography about the long walk and then open the bookstore the size of a castle. But now that he's received a warning, thanks to a bad cramp in his foot, that dream might just turn into a puff of gun smoke. Harkness has taken off his shoe, hoping to massage that swollen foot of his. Two young bystanders, a couple of little leaguers, are watching, fascinated, probably thinking to themselves how they would be doing a much better job than Harkness, who has received a second warning, a warning that startles him so badly oh, what a klutz he is. The shoe is bouncing around in his hands. He continues to walk, one shoe on, one shoe off. That is never good, folks. He stops to pick up the shoe, and that is warning number 3. And as the little spectators continue to watch, mesmerized, Harkness, realizing the danger now, is doing his best to just work through that cramp. Otherwise, it is a punched ticket for sure, and number 49 passes by Baker, who is yelling at the baseball tykes, telling them that they don't want to see what happens next, when they obviously do, as do we all. That's sort of the point of this event. Harkness does not like those guns pointed at him, and who would? So he is redoubling his efforts, working through that cramp, holding his own shoe as he cranks along. He actually has got a pretty good speed going considering that limp, and he has actually worked his way all the way up to the Motega brothers, the stoic vanguard twosome who seem impenetrable in this competition. But maybe if Harkness can stay on pace with the Hopi walkers, then he will stand a chance, at least in the short term. And the little leaguers bicycle away, looking more than a little disappointed. Keep it up, Harkness. Think of it as another exciting chapter in one of your stories. The throng is slowly leaving behind a Shell gas station. You'll notice that the fans have dwindled in size in these lower populated areas, but you just wait, folks. Some of the streets will be lined by the thousands. The closer we get to Boston, the bigger the crowds. But we have a long way to go, so let's continue to get to know these young competitors, shall we? I'd like to take a moment to spotlight Mickey Pearson, number 74. He's walking alongside number 85, Scram, the tall and lanky favorite of this competition. According to Vegas odds, Pearson doesn't have much of a chance. There's a nerd factor they take into consideration. And based on his application essay, Pearson does seem to be a bit of an egghead. He likes chess, math, and if he wins the competition, he wants to revamp his father's failed accounting firm. And he seems like a natural-born accountant because, well, have you noticed what Pearson has been doing the past 22 hours? Pearson has pennies in his pocket. I'm guessing about 99 cents worth, and each time a ticket has been punched, he moves one penny from his left pocket and places it into the right. And Pearson is not the only boy chumming it up with the charismatic Mr. Scram. Garrity, Baker, Abraham, a number of competitors seem drawn to him, perhaps hoping some of that athleticism will rub off on them. For those of you who missed the pre-game special, Edwin Scram is the only walker who is married. That's right, there's a Mrs. Scram out there right now watching from her folks' home in Phoenix, Arizona. She must be very proud of her husband as she keeps her fingers crossed, hoping that those Vegas bookies are correct this time. You see, Kathy Scram is pregnant with their first child, so you can imagine the extra pressure that puts on walker number 85. Or maybe pressure's the wrong word. Let's stay positive. Let's call it motivation. Scram, a high school dropout at the age of 15, plans to use the ultimate prize to make sure his soon-to-be-born son gets a college education. However, there's no such thing as a sure bet, Scram. After all, you might have a daughter. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Why, check out these adorable little cheerleaders. Isn't that just charming? And that seems to have put the spring back in Harkness's step. I think the cramp is gone, hopefully for good. And Olson, God bless him, must be on his third or fourth wind by now, because he just keeps plodding along, not paying any attention to those cheerleaders. Crossing a train track now, all the boys seem much more cautious about the inherent danger of these rails. No one is tripping this time. We're passing a fried clam shack that has been closed for this special day. Businesses, of course, can stay open if they choose, but a lot of folks would rather... Oh, I see that a walker in a black turtleneck, number 21, Atticus Field, he has suddenly flopped onto the ground and seems to be having some sort of a seizure. One moment ago, number 21 was just moving along at an even pace with the middle of the throng, and now he is convulsing on the asphalt. There's a lot of foaming at the mouth. His eyes are rolling up to the whites. Ooh, almost looks like a demonic possession. His arms flopping about. Garrity, number 47, just got whacked in the shoe, and now the rest of the walkers are wisely staying clear of this seizure. The soldiers are standing by, giving number 21 a second warning, not that the boy can hear anything at this point. But the soldiers still keep everything nice and official. Maybe he'll snap out of it in time, but it does not look like it. And now the vanguard up ahead has reached the crest of a downhill slope, revealing the breathtaking view of the Haynesville woods. And that report you just heard was number 21 getting his ticket punched. He is still convulsing, but it's just one last scramble of nerves, and now, yes, he is at rest for good. Number 88, Stebbins, always bringing up the rear, gives the soldiers plenty of room as they get a body bag ready for our 29th ticket punched, which means we still have 71 walkers left. And almost as a reward for surviving this long, the boys are treated to a gentle downhill slope, a nice breeze, and a chorus of birds welcoming the new day. It is now 6:45 a.m., breakfast is still hours away, and I can almost hear the stomachs growling down there. That gentle breeze upon the hillside has withered away, and as the slope levels out to a seemingly infinite stretch of road, the thermometer starts to rise. And we might get into the high 80s today. Great weather for a slip and slide, but walking endlessly on the hot pavement? Not so much. And we have more spectators on the sidelines, including two young ladies who look very excited by these daring young men. They're waving, blowing kisses. I have a feeling that number 72, Parker, will... Oh, I do not believe it. Number 48, Gribble, is getting off his high horse, and he is literally running as fast as he can to embrace these two attractive gals. It's like he's been lured in by a pair of mystical sirens or something. It's too early in the day to show you this type of imagery on television, folks, but let me just say that Gribble is making the most of this pit stop, and the ladies are thrilled to oblige right there on the hood of their car. I know it's merely a display of adolescent lust, folks, but it is actually nice to see Gribble doing something besides grumble about the major. This young man is finally realizing that while you are on the long walk, you are a rock star, a celebrity. And during all of this amorous play, I am not sure if Gribble has noticed that he has received not one, but 2 warnings. You better save some for later, Gribble. Nope, he's still there on the hood of the car, and he and one of the gals, well, they are still going at it. The second girl now sitting by, cheering them on. The walkers seem to be hypnotized by the spectacle as they pass by. Gribble, strangely enough, looks like he is on the verge of tears now. He gets a 3rd warning. Spectators are not supposed to interfere, so I'm not sure if her legs wrapped around him counts as interference, but the soldiers aren't stopping her, so I guess everything is fine, except, of course, Gribble is moments away now from receiving a punch ticket if he doesn't... Oh, and he finally breaks away from this instant lover's embrace. Whew, that was a close one for him. And now he's got to work off 3 warnings to make this little affair worthwhile, but Gribble seems to be in agony right now. He's covering his crotch out of embarrassment, I think, just completely overwhelmed by his own spontaneity. But whatever the reason, Gribble is crumpling in front of us right now, still in view of those 2 temptresses who seem to watch with a mixture of astonishment and amusement. Gribble on his knees now, not even able to crawl anymore. Ouch. And that just goes to show you this walk goes through long periods of slow drudgery, and then everything can change with a sudden, unexpected climax. And the 2 ladies speed away in their car. Boy, their high school is going to be talking about this for years. And it is now 7 a.m. And as the walk continues, let's again admire the stalwart vanguard, the Matego brothers, Michael and Joseph, number 65 and 66, in their black leather jackets, which they continue to wear despite the encroaching heat. We rarely get siblings in this competition. Cousins, sure. We actually have a couple cousins in this throng, but brothers, no. It is hard to imagine what's going through their minds as they continue to lead the way, but I can well imagine what number 49, Harkness, is thinking right now, as his pace slows yet again, not able to keep up with the Hopis as that cramp starts to creep back up on him. Harkness is thinking, my number is almost up. After all, number 48, Gribble, just got his ticket punched. And though the walkers aren't usually eliminated in numerical order, that seems to be what might happen here. Harkness is still walking with a 3rd warning, and his writer's brain is probably telling himself that this can't be the end. I'm the main character. I'm the protagonist. The story can't keep going without me. Yes, it can, Harkness. The powerful play goes on, and you have contributed your verse. And 69 walkers, still continuing their own hero's journey, their verses still unfinished, their hopes to win the ultimate prize, unlike Harkness, are still alive. Who will win? To find out, you will need to stay tuned as we continue our play-by-play coverage of The Long Walk.